Today I'm going to review the new album by the Zenith Passage, a technical death metal band. I just released a new album called Datalysium. I will be honest, I'm not always a big fan of tech death. I understand that it takes a lot of skill and talent to play at high speeds with complex guitar riffs and precise drum patterns, but sometimes the music sounds so technical that it loses some of its melody. There's a reason why simple songs become popular, and that's because they are fun, catchy, and memorable. But with that said, I think this band has been able to create some very good songs and still maintain that level of technicality. This band has a lot of different influences, and that's because the band members come from different bands. Each of them bring something special to the table. For example, there's a lot going on in this music. You can hear some jazz fusion, you can hear some black metal, some synth, some orchestral, a lot of harsh vocals, and there's also some singing and cleaner vocals. It's a mixture of technical death metal with some black metal and a bunch of other flavors mixed in and blended together. It's not a concept album, but there are some ideas that are expressed in the lyrics. They mentioned how technology is affecting humanity and how it makes people feel fear and loneliness, and how technology is taking over our lives, and it seems to bring us all together and make communication easier, but people get so wrapped up in it that they end up feeling lonely and isolated. Let's talk about the song. Of Error starts off the album with these Meshuggah style guitar riffs that hit you with different time signatures and stop-start rhythms. The song is not that long, but they do a lot in that period of only about 2.5 minutes. They use a lot of odd time signatures, and there are lots of heavy guitar riffs. It's a great song to listen to with headphones because they also play with the left and right channels. I thought that was pretty good. Algorithmic Salvation starts off with some complex technical death metal guitar riffs, the kind you would expect from any other technical death metal band. Just like the previous song, it's not a very long song. It's about 3.5 minutes, but they use a lot of odd time signatures. The vocals are very heavy, and a lot of times they are syncopated with the guitar riffs. There are a lot of melodies played on the guitar, and that reminds me of bands like Dream Theater, where they're almost... the guitars kind of sound like keyboards. I mean, there are keyboards as well, but a lot of times the melodies sound like that. Lex Contagion starts with an interesting arrangement of notes that are played on the guitar and spaced out in a very interesting way. The song gets very heavy with some harsh and aggressive death metal vocals, and the drumming is very intense. It's very brutal, but at the same time the song has some melody. There's one part in the song that reminds me of slam metal, where they have these like chunky guitar riffs. I also thought that was pretty cool. There's also a section with clean arpeggiated guitar chords. The first time in this album you hear anything like this, as well as some clean vocals that are slightly distorted and almost sound alien-like. This is behind some bass guitar notes, so the whole thing is very futuristic and trippy and makes you feel like you're in outer space. SYNAPTIC DEPRAVATION starts off with some guitar riffs that are played at a low volume, and they progressively increase the volume just to build a lot of tension and create a lot of suspense. It makes you wonder what they're going to do next. The song has some atmospheric parts. There's a lot of dissonance. There's a lot of distortion played behind the harsh and aggressive death metal vocals. It's also the part of the album where the songs become longer and more complex. The first 3 songs were all under 4 minutes, but now the song lengths are going to be about 5 to 7 minutes long, so there will be a lot going on. For example, in this song, they have this very spacey and trippy interlude with the bass guitar playing some notes, and that just brings back the melody. Cult is a little different. It starts off with this complex keyboard melody that goes into some technical and complex guitar playing. The drums are very fast-paced, playing a very complex drum pattern. The song is a very high-tech, state-of-the-art, futuristic type of feel, mixing the progressive sounds of bands like Dream Theater with the heavy technical death metal of some of their other influences like Meshuggah and Cynic. The song has some slow and dreamy passages with lead guitar playing that is played with a clean guitar tone that almost reminded me a little of maybe Pink Floyd or maybe some other classic rock bands. Deep Inertia 1 is the first part of a two-part song, and this one starts off with those Meshuggah-like guitar riffs that are just heavy, down-tuned, and in an odd time signature, and then they start to incorporate some of those atmospheric sounds in the background. I really like the melodies that are in this song. It kind of helps you digest some of the heavy guitar riffs and fast-paced. Deep Inertia 2 is the second part, and this one almost sounds like a continuation of the same song because the guitar riff in the intro seems to slow down and it almost makes you feel it's going to fade away, but it doesn't. It just keeps this slower pace. The song speeds up and changes tempo and time signature after about a few minutes. It's really interesting how they do that. If you read the lyrics of the song, there are a lot of complex words. You probably need like a degree in quantum physics to understand what they're saying, but if you're somebody who likes to nerd out on all these complicated science concepts, the lyrics are pretty interesting. Towards the end of the song, they get really heavy. It actually sounds more like deathcore, which was kind of interesting. There are two more songs in the album, and both of these songs clock in at about 7 minutes. So these two songs consist of the last 14 minutes of the album. Automated Twilight is a very slow and atmospheric song with some quiet soundscapes and vocals that sound both demonic and robotic at the same time. Then comes a big twist with some clean singing and some progressive rock keyboards and guitars that actually sounds like a typical progressive metal band at this point in the song. When I was researching the band, they mentioned that the album had some black metal influence, and I had not heard any of that until this song, where some of the vocals reminded me of some atmospheric black metal. There's some weird stuff going on in the song. There's one part where you can hear these choirs. It sounds like those evil choirs, the kind you hear like from like the movie The Omen, like those types. It's very trippy and complex. Possibly one of my favorites on the album, actually. Datalysium is the last song on the album, and it starts off like many of the others. It has some interesting guitar riffs and some fast-paced drumming. This is another one where they have these atmospheric black metal sounds with these evil-sounding vocals and these heavy pounding guitar notes. The song was like many of the others. There are lots of large and atmospheric soundscapes and a mixture of clean vocals and the heavy death metal style vocals. When they end the song, it's kind of creepy. It sounds like this child's music box or something like that, and that's how the album ends, which I thought was pretty. In conclusion, this was definitely a really great album. This is coming from somebody who's not the biggest technical death metal fan, because I was thought of this genre as being so technical to the point that it's not always enjoyable. I think sometimes these tech death bands just try to be complex and fast and don't really have substance in the songs. This band is completely different. I would consider this more to be a technical death metal mixed with progressive metal. There's a lot going on, as I just described. No need to repeat myself. So with that being said, my score is a 9 out of 10, possibly the best album of the month, which you will find out when I do my end of the month list. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please like this video. It helps me with the algorithm. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And please leave a comment and tell me what you think, and check out the other video right here. I'm going to stick something right here. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be death metal related, and I will see you in the next one.